recording.
You are tuned in to the WrestleMats. Matty Riser in front of me. I'm Matt Kelley. Matty, do you see anything good this weekend? Do anything? Anything worthwhile of note in the world of wrestling going on, my friend?
Just a little bit. A lot of action, but a lot of let's say swerves, bro. I'm excited for tonight. The review of reviews.
Yeah, we are finally getting together, breaking down Elimination Chamber from this past weekend. Now, you and I have exchanged text messages, but we have not face to face since this thing went down. Shared our opinions with each other. I know that we were both taken back by what we saw on a lot of different levels at the Elimination Chamber. I mean, I haven't thought about a premium live event for this extended length of time since it ended since WrestleMania 40, maybe. What about yourself?
Yeah, man, this is just a lot to take in. What we started with and where we're at now, and just how I guess it used to be an acquired taste, and now we're just kind of, these taste buds are changing with this Triple H regime.
Yeah, it is definitely different, and cards are being played close to the vest, and we're getting these big moments, and we're at the point where I don't think we should assume any sort of outcome on any sort of show at this point. And what we're going to do tonight is we're going to go through the card the way that it fell to us and as was presented. So that means, Matty, that we are going to start with the women's Elimination Chamber, which featured Liv Morgan, Bianca Belair, Naomi, Roxanne Perez, Bayley, and Alexa Bliss. Matty, you saw Liv Morgan and Naomi be selected to be the two superstars there outside of the pod to start this match. And before this thing could even get started, it got started, baby. We got Jade Cargill back, a woman scorned. Holy shit, somebody was going to catch those hands. You see the reaction of Liv Morgan, and it's not Liv Morgan getting those hands. It's Naomi. What'd you think about that?
This was crazy way to start. Like, this is a night of surprises that we didn't even know were in store. We had thought Jade Cargill would make her way back. But to start the chamber, like, exclamation point, out since what, November, I think?
It had been 99 days. Yeah.
99 problems, but a bitch ain't one. This was
Jade is one. Jade is a problem.
She put the boots to Naomi. Good Lord. What theatrics by Bianca, kind of telling the story too, freaking out. Not much you can do in the pod. I thought it was like just a great way to start the event in general.
WWE did a fantastic job of miking people up, not necessarily miking them up, but they had a good mic in whatever the pod was. And then I guess it was like the GoPro view inside of each pod. And you got all of that audio on the back end that dropped like the day after or yesterday or something of Bianca just losing her mind whenever Jade is just beating down Naomi. So let's stick with this story for just a second, Matty, and kind of break down the angles that we have gotten since then. So when it cuts to Liv Morgan as Jade is making her way down to the ring, you see her saying, "Oh no, you don't understand. This was not me." And then as Jade gets in the ring, she's still saying it. She's like, "No, you don't understand." And there's this tiny little snippet of a clip, if you catch it, and she says, and this is right before she cuts towards Naomi, she said, "I know it wasn't you." And then goes right at Naomi. So there's a couple things to break down here. One, she definitely thinks it's Naomi right now. Does Jade? Two, Jade never went at Bianca once. She didn't go up to her pod and yell. She didn't throw Naomi into Bianca's pod. She didn't even look at Bianca this entire time. So do you think, A, that it is in fact just Naomi? And then B, do you think Bianca is playing a bigger role in all of this?
So I'm not trying to overcomplicate things in my, train of thought with this. But to me, Naomi takes out Jade, goes on to become tag champs with Bianca. to me, it was one of those that kind of elevates her. We already knew what we have in Bianca. To me, it's almost like Naomi did this to get the upper hand for that moment. So to me, I mean, like I said, everything steps up and plays out. It seems like it's a Naomi Jade thing where Bianca could be caught into, but by the way the match ended, it kind of think, this is a one-on-one thing going forward.
Yeah, I'm torn in a couple of different ways, and WWE has done, I think, a pretty good job of making you question which direction is this going to go. And I think part of that factored into Monday Night Raw as well. And I'll kind of give you that take here in just a second. But somebody pointed out on Twitter that that Naomi was wearing, that band across her thigh. It's just like a real thin piece of fabric that goes with her gear, but it just kind of goes across the thigh. And it was that pattern that you see on, like, whenever you think about the pattern of any standard bandana, it was that pattern that was cut out.
Okay.
And that's what Naomi wore during her Team Bad, her last kind of heel days. So I was like, okay, maybe that's a little bit of a throwback, a callback sort of thing to that. And maybe she has something to do with it. But then you also have the angle of, okay, well, Bianca's won the match. She's not super concerned about getting to the hospital or anything like that. She's out there celebrating her, going to WrestleMania. And so it's like, do you compartmentalize? You had everything that went down on Monday Night Raw with Bianca getting into it with Rhea. And, what kind of mind games is Bianca possibly playing? So in a way, I'm torn because it definitely seemed like Naomi either thought that Jade just didn't know and it was going to be on Liv, or Naomi genuinely does not know. At least that's how I perceived it.
Yeah, I think there has to be more story, and I think Bianca has to be involved somehow to kind of either get her out of that situation or kind of. I mean, they have too much history together with Jade Cargill. There's got to be some kind of path crossing between the two where there's a confrontation at least.
So you're saying maybe that either there's the Bianca's in on it, or maybe she's trying to save Naomi or something like that?
I just think we still have to have that moment of clarity with what's her agenda in all this. Well, did she have nothing to do with it? Obviously, if she has nothing to do with it, that's why she was freaking out when Naomi
Right.
She seems innocent to the outlook. I mean, you wouldn't put up that kind of emotion. I mean, I don't know. That's the thing. But, I mean, to me, she sold it very well.
Yeah, agreed. And it's going to be interesting to see where Jade figures it out. Is it before? Is it during WrestleMania? Is it after WrestleMania? There's a lot of ways that this story can go, but let's try to tackle the rest of the chamber. Liv Morgan, man. Liv freaking Morgan, dude. It's getting to the point. She's kind of taken this Rhea Ripley arc, and hear me out. She's taken this Rhea Ripley arc from the standpoint that, she's with Dom, but she's putting on such a display in the ring every single time. You see the photos afterwards where she's bruised. She's got the cut on her waist from the Bianca Belair hair whip. And so she's putting everything on the line, man. And her stuff is just fluid. It looks great. It's going to get to the point where it's hard for fans to be against Liv.
When they were giving her eliminations on Saturday, she's working heel throughout the thing. There's so many different spots, and I believe she got the hair spot with Bianca. That was just that was brutal. But yeah, there's only so much. We've seen it with the double turn at WrestleMania 13 with Austin and Brett, where Austin doesn't give up, covered in blood. Next night he's over like Rover. Like you said, I think there comes to a point where you just can't boo Liv off of just her in-ring work and just everything. It's amazing right now.
Outside of Liv and Bianca obviously ends up taking the W here and is now facing Io Sky after Rhea Ripley loses on Monday Night Raw. So there's a whole story to talk about there with what does Rhea Ripley's, WrestleMania path look like. But let's stay focused on the chamber for now. Who else do you think kind of got the shine here inside the women's chamber match?
I mean, to me, it really separated the girls from the women with Bianca and Liv. They looked like the major players in this.
Sure.
Everybody else just kind of looked like role players, in my opinion. So to me, it did a good job of showcasing those two, but I wouldn't say there's any real winners from this match other than those two, in my opinion. Just from what we saw in the women's division, you could say some high spots, and Bailey always brings it, but I felt like she was like a side piece in this match.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely centered. Once everything calmed down from the Jade Cargill return, it definitely centered on Bianca Belair, on Liv Morgan. Alexa Bliss had a couple of nice spots. Roxanne Perez had a couple of nice spots. But I think, to your point, those were the two that shined, and rightfully so. So let's get out of this. Well, actually, before we get rid of this match, a little side question for you, Matty. Which one would you rather take? The Bianca Belair hair whip or a chop from Gunther?
Oh, geez. I guess I'm going to go the Bianca hair whip.
Oh,
but, I mean, it looks,
man.
I don't even know how she wrestles with that. Like,
I mean, it left an immediate mark on Liv, and it's still hanging out, man. I don't know. I don't know how many times I would say I would rather be chopped by Gunther, but I think I would rather take the Gunther. Man, it looks devastating either way. But
one more thing before we get out of this match, just something I wanted to kind of highlight was the announce team of, in my opinion, Michael Cole, Pat McAfee, and somehow Wade Barrett from SmackDown. It just, to me, it gels perfectly. If you're going to have a 3-man team, to me, whatever we were missing, like I said, nothing against Corey Graves.
Sure.
But I think Wade Barrett just goes so well with McAfee and what Michael Cole was able to do. I really enjoyed the announce team, this PLE.
Yeah, I responded to a tweet that was put out by WWE, and it was the reaction of Michael Cole to Rock and Cody, which we'll obviously talk about here as we go along in the card. But his reaction, absolutely incredible. And all I said was, look, this is the best Michael Cole that we have had throughout his WWE career. And I think that says quite a bit with the man and how long he's been there. But that's one of the changes, one of the best changes that's happened in the Triple H regime is just taking the handcuffs off of that announce team and letting them be them. And I think each one of them is shining in your role. And I think as far as a 3-man booth goes, I think you nailed it. This is it. Yeah. This is the one. All right. So, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, it's just the flows there. Like I said, very impressed. And even with this women's match, just kudos to Liv, like you said. Amazing work here. She's definitely got to be up there for Superstar of the Year so far.
Do you think overall, especially after what we saw on Monday Night Raw, that Bianca is the correct call here?
Yeah, I think so. If I would have known, to me, I was sold on that. It was going to be Jade and Bianca was where we were going. But if you have Jade Bianca as a singles, absolutely. Like you said, she's one of the best wrestlers in WWE, hands down.
Yeah, I do think getting her out of the tag team situation for now is probably best, and just letting her go out there and shine. Now, the Tiffany Stratton and Trish Stratus versus Nia Jax Candice LeRae match was second on the card. Tough spot, really hot match there with the women's chamber and everything that happened. And I was on the Wrestling Junkies podcast earlier today, Matty, talking with the fellas over there. So if you have a chance to go check them out at Junkies Pod, I think pretty much across all of their platforms. But I said to them, I was like, look, there was nothing wrong at all with this match, and I will take the L on Candice LeRae. She held her own. I think she did really well in this match. Yeah. The overall problem with this match happened to be that the match was okay, and on a night to have just an okay match, it was just the wrong damn night to have an okay match.
Yeah, there were some sloppy spots, and I think that's kind of what kind of shined out more after you have such a masterpiece to start the night. Then you get, But I think Trish, man, she looked amazing, did she not, for being a 25-year vet in the biz? I thought she looked sharp.
Yeah, no, she looked sharp. I think the Stratusfaction off of the top rope played out well as her high spot. Now, I think I would have liked to have seen Trish get a little bit more offense, just because ultimately this match didn't serve as a spot to push any sort of WrestleMania plot lines. And so this really should have been more about Trish, at least for me in that perspective. And, being in her home country in front of her kids, yada, yada, yada. So I would have liked a little bit more offense from that perspective. But again, the match was just okay, and it didn't have a comeback. It didn't have a super memorable spot. It didn't have this. It didn't have that. And on a night of surprises and chaos, it kind of needed something, and we just didn't get it in this match.
No, I think it all hopefully builds towards Charlotte now. You saw, Tiffy beat Jack, so that hopefully puts an exclamation mark on that rivalry. So we'll just kind of, like you said, props to Candice LeRae. She wasn't a bad. I just don't have. There wasn't any wow moments, anything memorable from this match to take away, other than Trish still has it, and it is what it is.
Got to tell you, I normally have a coffee in the middle of this podcast. Switched it out for a little bourbon tonight, and have some whiskey rocks in my glass. One came tumbling down a little bit too far on that last sip, and I took a little bourbon to the eye just now. So we were lets you know you're alive. I got a little sting, just to let you know your heart rate is still capable of getting on up there.
Unsanctioned podcast.
Yeah, exactly. Perfect transition, my friend. Getting into maybe one of the early contenders for match of the year. Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, unsanctioned match. My good gracious, Matty. This thing was a car wreck in the best way imaginable. Just when you think you've kind of seen it all from Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, and they can't do something else and they can't top what they've done before. To me, this is it. If you ask me what's the Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn match to go watch, it's this one. It was incredible. 10 out of 10. No notes. Fucking amazing. Loved every bit of it.
Everything. The dim light, they stayed true to the unsanctioned. It was a fight. They sold their injuries, went around the crowd. I think that's something else that's really missed in pro wrestling is when you have these street fights and whatnot, get backstage, get the crowd involved. There's so much more to it than just hitting somebody with a chair.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what we really got to see at the Chamber was just two best friends that don't have bad matches. And they showed, you saw Sami Zayn selling the neck injury. I thought that was huge. But my God, some of the spots they took through chairs, tables, barbed wire. You heard about that, right? Real barbed wire was used in that match. How crazy are these?
I will say, I get why the question was asked, because that was the most tactfully wrapped chair of barbed wire I've ever seen. It wasn't just like strung out and away from the chair. It was like a Christmas present, on Christmas. Like, it was just so neatly wrapped in that barbed wire, and I think that's what kind of caused some confusion there. But man, I think you nailed it. They did everything to go out of their way and make this match feel different and special and stay true to that unsanctioned feel. You had the referee dressed in all black with the black glove. He already had gloves on when the match started. He's like, there's going to be bloodshed, so I should probably just go ahead and have these gloves on. The dim lighting, which I thought for a minute, I was like, I don't know. But as it went, I'm like, okay, yeah, this absolutely fits. Sami and the different attire, just the level of brutality throughout, the selling of the neck, the different spots. I don't recall if there was an 100% unprotected headshot, but there was definitely a chair thrown at the face for sure. Yeah. So it's just a different level of brutality. I mean, the way that they were going through chairs wrapped in barbed wire, man. I mean, this is a match that you save and you have once a year, and that's kind of, not to go on a side quest and bash somebody, but that's why I'm not as into the Jon Moxley style of match that has to happen every single time with Jon Moxley. I think you do it like this, and it means way, way more.
Yeah, it serves a way better purpose. It's more memorable. It did everything it needs to do. And then you saw the guys, they kind of slowed the match down the second half. It wasn't just all gas, no brakes. Let's just get as many shots as we can, as you sometimes see in other hardcore matches. They tell the story. You narrate it. You can feel the pain that they're going through. And I think that was huge after, how it started, just an all-out physical attack. But, yeah, match of the year, it's got to be so far, yeah. I think it's up there.
I think it's, as far as WWE goes, I would say it's up there with Liv and Raquel, and then Naomi and Bianca, the tag team match that ended Monday Night Raw. Very good match there. The triple threat with Ludwig Kaiser, Penta, Pete Dunne. I think that's up there so far. There's been a lot of really good action in matches this first couple of months of 2025 for WWE. And Matty, were you watching NXT at the point when Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens kind of first got in there together?
I was not. I was strictly main roster at that point.
Okay, so the final move that Kevin Owens hits, the power bomb to the apron, is actually like one of the first interactions that they had. Kevin Owens comes out to congratulate Sami on this match, turns on him on the ramp, and then power bombs Sami Zayn on the apron of the ring to kind of end NXT. So it was a really good callback from like literally their very first feud hitting in NXT, and that's the way that this match ended.
Yeah, that's storytelling, and I love the I think it was Sami Zayn's punching KO in the corner, top rope punch, and he just flips him over the corner right onto the table outside the ring. I was like, oh my God. But yeah, just like you said, storytelling in a hardcore match. You don't get that a lot, many times where guys sell injuries, you tell a story, but these guys have such a history. I mean, and then the ending we're about to get to, good Lord. I mean, took the roof off.
You kind of foreshadowed it though on our last episode, because we were kind of forecasting, okay, based on who wins, where does it go from here? And you said, can we get the Viper? Can we get Randy Owens back in time for WrestleMania for this Kevin Owens feud? And sure as shit, that's where we're at, man. The music hits. Randy Orton still looking jacked, but he's leaned out a little bit. He's not topping the 300 on the scales right now. He's leaned out a little bit. You're getting them abs poking through. You're getting a little bit of a menace, a Viper, a focused Randy Orton for WrestleMania. He was ready to punt Kevin Owens' head off before security finally did their job, I guess. But man, that's going to be one. I think that's got the makings for a hell of a feud on the way up to WrestleMania.
Oh, it's going to be great because it was a perfect time to have him come out. You've got Sami Owens. Now I'm doing it.
I already did it once.
Nice to meet you. Welcome to the team. Yeah, just perfect time to get revenge and just kind of start laying those tracks down for WrestleMania. You know, these two guys are going to put on a hell of a match. I think it was a perfect transition from Sami Owens. God, now I'm
he's officially rebranded.
Sami Owens, Kevin Owens' brother. But yeah, this is going to be a hell of a match as well. But yeah, by far the match of the night, in my opinion.
Yeah, I would agree. And it's so crazy that you have to kind of say match of the night. I don't think either of us would say moment of the night, but damn sure match of the night. So let's jump into our very last match on this card. Winner going on to face Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania, John Cena, Drew McIntyre, CM Punk, Seth Rollins, Logan Paul, and Damian Priest. And let's start with something else that you kind of projected out last week on the preview show for the Elimination Chamber, and that is the setup of Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre. Do you think we got enough in this match, Matty, to say that that's for sure the direction that we're getting here for WrestleMania 41 and those two superstars?
Yeah, I do. I'm very surprised by the path they're taking with McIntyre, with getting these losses and how everything's kind of working out for such a guy who was so dominant this time last year. It's just crazy to see. I know everybody can't be at the top. Like, that's the way storytelling goes. But yeah, I think there's enough seeds planted, and I do enjoy what we're going to get. I think it's a great spot for Priest to be in. But yeah, I'm just kind of almost let down with McIntyre's, rolling this whole thing.
So that's what I got asked the question tonight over on the Wrestling Junkies podcast. They said, who are you worried about? Was the question. Who are you worried about heading into WrestleMania? And I said Damian Priest. Damian Priest was my answer for that. And the biggest reason was I felt like he just did not, like, people were not excited that Damian Priest was in this match. I hate to say that, because I think Damian Priest is great. I think he's grown a ton. I think he had a good title run. I think he had a good cash in. And it just wasn't and it's weird in baseball stadiums and football stadiums sometimes. things don't play out on TV the way that they do there. But it just felt flat for Priest, whether it was his entrance, his moves when he got the spotlight, getting eliminated. I'm worried about it, man, and I'm worried about. So, kind of to your point, you're thinking that Drew deserves maybe a little bit higher place on the card. I'm worried about how that match is going to be. If that is the match at WrestleMania 41,
yeah,
I'm worried about how that match is received between Priest and McIntyre.
When to your point with Priest, ever since like Judgment Day, it's went downhill for him. Maybe it was supposed to project him, and I think that's what they're trying to do.
Yeah, agreed.
I just don't. I think it works so much better as him, the leader of Judgment Day, with that role with R-Truth and Dom and everything else going on. So it was tough for me because I don't take him as a main eventer right now.
Yeah, even when he and Rhea had kind of left Judgment Day, and they're kind of having that run as Terror Twins and doing some things, and they're on screen together. He just doesn't have that anymore, and he just hasn't found that footing on SmackDown yet. And I think we're seeing that kind of translated in terms of his live reaction. So hopefully they can get cooking there and get that build over the next 6 weeks or so. One storyline that is damn sure on fire is CM Punk and Seth Rollins. Oh baby. Not only during the Elimination Chamber, but to start out Monday Night Raw this week. I mean, CM Punk. You can go check out some of our content over on Instagram, TikTok, whatever. Scorched Earth from CM Punk to start out Monday Night Raw. Some of it directed at John Cena and The Rock, but the vast majority of it directed at Seth Rollins after Seth Rollins stomped CM Punk to basically cost him a real shot at having a one-on-one opportunity with John Cena there in the chamber.
And man, nobody is booing Seth Rollins.
No, nobody's booing CM Punk either.
No, nobody's getting a heel reaction out of these.
No.
It's just people are in love with everything that Seth Rollins does, and obviously Punk. But it's just crazy to see Seth Rollins has elevated his game so much just in it feels like the last year for me after that injury and the whole WrestleMania thing. Just going on and on, what he's able to do with Roman Reigns and tell that story. And now I thought Punk I was like, there's no way they're pivoting to Rollins Punk. It's not there. And it is there. Like Rollins is that good at selling I don't know if it's called I wouldn't say it's like a pissant heel because he doesn't back down from a fight. We've seen that.
No, he definitely doesn't back down. No.
But he is, he's got those heel tactics where he's costing people matches and just maybe it's an opportunist, but to me it's great storytelling and it's fucking awesome.
It's going to be real interesting what happens on next week's Monday Night Raw when Seth and CM Punk are set to be in a steel cage in Madison Square Garden. And I think a lot of people are assuming right now, Matty, that this is the spot where Roman Reigns comes back. And I would first say I wouldn't make any sort of assumptions about the WWE product these days. You can try to put some pieces together, but I think we just don't know definitively what direction it's heading. But with this match being in Madison Square Garden, the cage match, there's a barrier for somebody to have to come through and kind of get in. So I like the idea of Roman Reigns kind of coming for his receipts, but I more so wonder if that does not happen and this Seth Rollins CM Punk thing just plays out. Is there a possibility that we just get Seth Rollins CM Punk at Mania?
Yeah. That's tough too, though. Like you were saying on the pod you were on earlier today about Roman Reigns. Where does that leave Roman Reigns? He is on the face of 2K. He had that 4-year title run. So where do we just kind of put that to the side for WrestleMania 41 with Roman Reigns? Where does he fit into all this?
Okay, so that was very much the sentiment across the board. Right. Was look, Roman is the face of the place still. You can't just have him not doing anything, obviously, at WrestleMania. And he's already put out the tweet that receipts are coming, and I think they were the overseas dates that are coming up in the middle of March. But let me ask you this, Matty: would you rather have a feud, a triple threat of CM Punk, Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns as a match somewhere within the WrestleMania card? Or would you rather have CM Punk versus Seth Rollins and then Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns on night one versus The Rock and John Cena?
Oh, okay. Okay. Now you're
Am I
selling me.
cooking?
Okay.
Am I getting something over here?
That's an easy answer, right?
I think so.
Yeah, I love that idea.
I think if you put that in there and you talk about full circle in terms of what they went through last year with The Rock fighting and the Rock fighting Cody Rhodes with Roman Reigns fighting Cody Rhodes, and then you have them teaming up to go after The Rock and the new biggest heel in the business, John Cena. I would rather see that and then let the conclusion of Seth Rollins and CM Punk finish out rather than that triple threat. That's just me. If we're not getting Roman and Seth, I would rather it be Punk and Seth. One-on-one, to me, is always going to do better business than a triple threat. What about you?
Yeah, I agree. I just think it's so weird that you do that at the Rumble with Rollins with the stomp on Reigns. It just, to me, there's that storytelling too. I just feel like you can't leave that unopened for that long, in my opinion, unless you have maybe those guys face night two. I mean, that's still a possibility. I mean, anything's possible in WWE right now. But yeah, I do love the idea of Cody getting somebody. I mean, we've also seen the rumblings. I'm not getting my hopes up, but Stone Cold Steve Austin somehow being involved this year, being right down the road, that would be interesting as well. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he kind of floated in an interview, that I guess he lives close there to Vegas and that he's hoping to be there. And I think the line from Austin was something along the lines of, "Look, if Cody needs a hand, I'm around." And so we'll see what happens and that take up there. But so let's just get to it.
Yeah.
Let's just get to it here. So John Cena wins the chamber by applying the STF to CM Punk. You hear him. So two things real quick about this. After CM Punk gets curb stomped, you see Cena's reaction in the background. Fan-fucking-tastic camera work by WWE here to get Cena, because he scrambles to grab Punk as quick as he can get to his feet to get over to Punk, knows he's going to apply it. And that's something that I don't think John Cena would have taken advantage of 5, 6, 7 years ago. You wouldn't have seen that level of like, I have to do this. This is my opportunity. Right. It has to happen this way. And you even hear him yell. Netflix had the great audio of Cena yelling sorry to Punk. Like he just had to do it. He's like, "I'm sorry, man. This is it. I have to do this." So there's that. But then Cody comes down to congratulate Cena. And then The Rock comes down to make his presence felt with Travis Scott. we'll get in. We'll get into Travis Scott a little bit. Travis Scott's always having a good time, man. I actually liked the backstage footage of Travis Scott. He was hype about this, so I'm not as whatever about it as I was previously. But man, this whole segment, I don't know what we can say that's new at this point. I can just only share my reaction, and that kind of like when blood is used sparingly, or the type of match that happened with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn is used sparingly. When The Rock asks for Cody's soul, he goes into kind of his good guy shtick, but then looks at him and just says, "Hey, Rock, go fuck yourself." Boy, the roof came off of that place, Matty. Holy cow, man. I mean, talk about right place, right time for an F-bomb. Tremendous.
You get that like endorphin kick, like you're like finally telling The Rock off. And just, to me, I was like, man, this is such. And now that we're getting The Rock as a soul man, which I didn't get this, that was what he was going for like a year ago. And I was, I'm a fashionista at times. And the bell bottoms, I was kind of like, I don't get it. I don't get this like kind of Elvis look, but kind of.
Oh, yeah. You know what? He's got like the Versace vest, like the 70s vest. Yeah. Oh, I kind of, okay.
And
playing in the, okay.
Yeah, never, and that's long-term storytelling. Something we've mentioned the Vince McMahon era, that's what we're used to.
Mm-hmm,
It's hard to kind of scrub that out of your brain when it's all you've ever known. And now you're seeing long-term storytelling in a short-term attention span world. So we don't necessarily get what's going on when it happens. But yeah, I mean, dude, go fuck yourself. How big of a moment, like, that was, I popped so hard for that. That's like, I'm fully invested in that moment.
Man. And they played it up too, having Cody come out in all black. Travis Scott comes out in all black. The Rock comes out in all black. And you're like, oh man, all these guys in all black. That doesn't signal good things for John Cena. But let me ask you this, because we obviously did not watch it. We did not watch it together. And so I want to know, at what point in this you felt like you knew the turn was coming with Cena versus Cody.
So I think we've discussed this in the John Cena episode. I just never really thought that John Cena would turn heel.
Mm-hmm.
There was, you might get that little 2% feel where like, oh, well, he's giving him a look, whatnot. And I didn't think it would ever happen. You had sold me on the CM Punk maybe heel turn, or I could have even seen Cody Rhodes heel turn. But yeah, it really didn't cross my mind, even after Rhodes said, go fuck yourself. Like, inkling in your brain's like, oh, maybe Cena's going to turn heel. But it's not real, right? Like, it's what you... Well, I was going to say, it's that look right there when he's giving the hug.
Okay. That's okay. That's what I was looking for.
Sold it. Like, right then you're like, oh, shit. But that's facials, that's storytelling, that's entertainment. That's what we love, professional wrestling.
Oh boy, once that hit, once the face dropped, I was like, no way.
That was the moment.
Like, I was like, no fucking way. And then they cut to The Rock, and he gives the throat slit, and you're like, oh man. And then John pulls from Cody, and he just goes back to smiling in Cody's face before he kicks him in the nuts, man. How good is John Cena right now at this? And for the rest of the night, as soon as he kicked Cody, stone face, like his soul had been taken, if you will. But the brutality of the beatdown, to the slow motion of Rock just, barely turning his head to look at Cody to be like, told you not to fuck with me. Told you not to. And to have this kind of super powered duo now standing there looming at WrestleMania season, I've never been happier to be wrong in my life. The way, getting John Cena as a heel. And if night one of this speaks any sort of volume about what we're getting on the road to WrestleMania, I'm all in. I'm all in.
And think of John Cena's value in, like, just my own eyes. Before this, he wasn't even a credible threat to Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania.
Agreed.
Like, I was like, this guy's not even on the same level. But the heel turn, like, it brought out the emotion in me that I was like, holy shit, this is a different vibe. And that's, 20 years we've had John Cena as your face, the good guy, And man, it just shows how hot the product is right now. Right there. Like, from the mid card with Penta and everybody else, to the women's matches with Liv, to the main event with Jey Uso. Who would have thought 2025 would bring you Jey Uso in the main event? A John Cena heel.
Not me.
All this stuff. But it makes sense. You got Cena the heel, got Cody as your baby face, keeps Cody strong, and it tells a story, which I love.
So a lot of things to break down and discuss, and hypotheticals, and we'll try to move through it as good of a pace as we can here. But it's literally one of the biggest moments in wrestling history. I don't think I'm overstating that. To just say broadly wrestling history at this point, this is one of the biggest moments here that we're getting to witness. So, Matty, let me ask you this: do you think, I'm not personally putting stock into The Rock signaling 3, 2, 1, and that there's going to be 3 specific people involved, whether it's him, Cena, and somebody else, or him, Cena, Travis Scott. I think that was more of a callback to him doing that at Bad Blood. And I think, however The Rock does the throat slit is just how he does it. I don't think that there's more built into that, but I do think I think there's it's a very slim chance that we get Rock every single appearance with Cena from now to WrestleMania. I think it's unlikely that we see them on every single appearance together. I think Rock is going to go do his thing. He'll show up sparingly. He'll obviously be at Mania. So that does beg the question, though, that Rock is probably going to use his power to keep and make John Cena his champion. At least that's the way I see it. So do you think he does throw some power behind somebody and recruit somebody to kind of be that heater for John Cena to kind of protect him, a la what Solo Sikoa was doing for Roman Reigns during the Bloodline era?
Yeah. I mean, you could possibly see that. So, I think we're still how many dates are we going to get John Cena for? So then it's how can we tell a story with other people surrounding him when he's not here? Because he's already filming another movie somewhere.
Right.
So it's hard for me to get behind. I mean, I don't hate the idea, but I think I'm still kind of stuck with Cena being with The Rock. I think that's kind of the route I want right now till I see more Cena, and then we can go from there.
I kind of like the idea of Cena having somebody to say, hey, go do my business while I'm filming this movie, to kind of keep the storyline moving, kind of attacking or at least playing some mind games or something.
But then
Cody
you have
Rhodes.
to have more than one person then, don't you? What do you think?
Maybe. A good one was thrown out to me earlier, and that's Jacob Fatu. What if Jacob Fatu? Do you want to see Jacob Fatu in any capacity standing away, across the ring from you, or costing you matches, or screwing with your matches on the way to WrestleMania? He could bring Tom along too, and kind of have that duo. Yeah, have that duo doing the dirty work for John. It's just something to think about, but maybe it is all John. Maybe it is all John and Rock. I don't know. Either way, I'm damn sure intrigued. I'm hoping that we hear from Cody on Friday night. To which, did you see Matty, the replay of the shot that Travis Scott got in on Cody?
He bitch slapped him.
Rock in the post match press conference is like he slapped the shit out of Cody, and I was like, did he really get him that good? And then I watched the replay, and I read some reports today, and it's hard to know right now with what's accurate and what's not. But this one kind of seems accurate that Cody might have a busted eardrum. Yep, and I went back and watched, and specifically that spot where Travis gets that shot in, it's dead on the ear, man. And I was like, yep, that'll do it. That will do it. So
I thought it was pretty entertaining to even have Travis Scott there. Like I didn't understand like the potpourri or if it was just a blunt. But
I think it was just a blunt.
Having him come out with The Rock, I thought served a good purpose. Like kind of like that. You got that Rodman feel to it back in the day with Hulk Hogan. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
And then
I think people either liked it or they didn't. There wasn't much in between. Yeah.
I just love how we've evolved. Like we're adding pop culture to it. We're changing some of the things that we still make it wrestling, but we still keep that entertainment vibe to it.
Two things before we get out of here. We'll keep it short and in check because we're going to do an entire episode next week on heel turns, and we'll delve more into this heel turn. And one of these questions we might talk about, but we'll just graze over it for a little bit. But the first thing I want to ask you is just a hypothetical, Matty. If you could pick the entrance music for John Cena as a heel, are you keeping it? Are you changing it? Do you have something in mind? What do you like?
I think you got to change it. I just don't know what to. I think you had a good idea. It's just tough. I don't know. I think I'm so I want to see it all play out. I'm just such a fan right now of everything that's going on in WWE and especially with John Cena now, because I was totally wrong on everything. But music-wise, I don't really have an idea. What are you thinking?
It got thrown out there by several people, so I'm in no way taking credit for it. I'm just on board with it. So the John Cena album, which is the same one that his current track is on, there's a song on there, a track on there called "Bad Bad Man," and boy, that thing goes hard. And it is. You'll have to go listen to it after the pod. Cue it up in the old headphones. To me, that is That is John Cena keeping that attitude, but also changing that attitude for his current character. So that personally has my vote. Now, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say it also has a music video to it. So
Yes,
if you're
it
not
does.
with the I guess like a fake A-team, which is kind of funny.
Yeah. So that one is what has my vote, whether it happens or not. John mentioned in an interview with Chris Van Vliet that he at one point was supposed to turn heel, had all new gear, had a whole new track recorded. We'll see if he uses that, breaks that out. I think it can go a lot of different ways. Last question of the night, and I don't want to go too in depth on it because I think it's going to be a large topic on our episode about heel turns coming out next week.
Yeah.
But just your initial gut reaction, because I took a poll over on Twitter, over on X as soon as this happened, and I said, which one's bigger? Just gut reaction. Cena heel turn, Hogan heel turn.
I'm still gonna go Hogan. I haven't really I haven't came off that mountain. I think it's still, even looking back at it, we're on Tuesday night here.
Mm-hmm.
I've looked at it and I still think I think Hogan's was a bigger moment in pro wrestling just because of kayfabe.
Okay. I have a little bit of a different take. I'm not necessarily arguing that that the one with Hogan was bigger, but they're just different. They're so different, and I think that's kind of what people aren't taking into account right now is how different that they were. So the Hogan one happened in what, 97, 98? What was it?
96.
96.
Bash at the Beach.
So Bash at the Beach, 96. The internet was a fraction of what it is today, especially in terms of networking and the availability of information, interacting with people, and having these gut reactions the way that we do on social media, the way that it was shot. It's a pretty steady shot when Hogan comes out, following him to the ring. They pan out a little bit once he's in there and stuff. The Cena turn was a little bit more choreographed, almost like a movie in a little bit. And that's an advance of technology. That's an advance of production and storytelling and the way that was thought out. So it's just completely different from that standpoint. WCW probably didn't have or if they did, they didn't have the forethought to do it. You know what I mean? Nothing was really being shot like that in wrestling at that point in time.
But to your point, I think no matter what, they're 1-2. Like, I don't see anything scrapes the surface.
Yeah, so I mean, have it how you will, right? 1A, 1B, 1-2, whatever order you want to put it in. I don't begrudge anybody for thinking one way or the other. We'll debate it a little bit more and get into a little bit more on the heel turn episode. But yeah, I agree. 1-2, no matter what order that you have it in, and there's just so many great things about both.
One more thing, you've got episodic television, weekly pro wrestling. It took 30 years for something to even get remotely close to that moment in pro. That just tells you how big of a deal this is in pro wrestling history, because it's always good guys or bad guys, but you literally take a 30-year hiatus to get to this point with such a monumental moment. I mean, that's pretty unreal.
Yeah, I agree, because people will point to different heel turns throughout time, and I don't think anything got nearly as close as what it did to Hogan up until this past Saturday. And this past Saturday damn sure rivals it for me. So we will leave it there. We're going to be dropping all sorts of short form interactive content over on all of our socials. This past week, we got some good stuff up already that is inclusive of our heel turn episode. We're diving in a little bit deeper about Rhea Ripley and where her WrestleMania plans lay and kind of what happened after Monday Night Raw. So if you haven't seen that, check that out on our page over at WrestleMats. And Matty, we just gotta, there's not a night off right now. We are just breakneck speed heading into WrestleMania season.
Take it in, man. Little Jericho holic for you. Dude, at WrestleMats, we are killing the game. Elimination preview just happened last week. We came back with the recap, and gosh dang, he's a heel. We got so much good stuff over at WrestleMats. Make sure you check it out.
Oh boy, we could I just want to hang out all night and talk about this thing. I really I really do. But we're gonna get out of here and get into making some more content for you guys. We're so happy to have you with us, and we look forward to doing it much more. Catch us wherever you want to at WrestleMats. We will see you next week.
That's MATTS.